Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the Be In Podcast. I actually just finished filming this episode with the 4 seminary ambassadors that you're about to listen to. I just have to preface the reason why I did this episode, which is all about seminary guidance and the things you have to think about in your decision process, is because I run Israel Gap Year, and I've been doing it for the past 6 years, Baruch Hashem. And one of the things about running this page is I meet with so many prospective students and parents that are figuring out, okay, where do I want to apply? Where do I want to go for next year? And over the past few weeks, I've had many conversations with parents and prospective students, just helping them figure out, where even to apply for seminary. And I was just like, wow, people don't even know where to start. They're very confused, and they just need a lot of guidance. So I thought there's no better way than to have a podcast come out exactly at this time to help the next generation of students hopefully get a little bit of chizuk from girls that are currently in seminary that were in their shoes a year ago. So that is the reason why I did this episode today. And I just filmed with the 4 ambassadors, and I just have to tell you, this is tremendously insightful. And if you're a girl or if you're a parent that is thinking about seminary for next year and you're listening to this episode, very smart decision, because hopefully you'll get some good advice from the amazing ambassadors I just interviewed. So shout out to them, thank them. I want to thank them for joining me on this one. And without further ado, it's time to listen to my conversation with Rhyan Rackman, Eliana Winer, Fusman, and Hodaya Greenwald. See you guys soon. Enjoy. Welcome to the Israel Gap Year Be In Podcast. I'm your host, Avi Proctor, and in each episode we get Be In depth into the remarkable lives of individuals in Israel who dedicate themselves to inspiring the next generation of Klal Yisrael. Okay, I'm pumped for this right now. Welcome, Eden, Hodaya, Eliana, and Rhyan, our amazing Shalom Fusman ambassadors and Minmo ambassadors. For those that are listening to this right now, wherever you are in the world, I had this idea a few days ago. I'm like, you know what? I'm meeting with so many guys and girls that are in the process of figuring out we're going to go for yeshiva and seminary next year. And so many people are so beyond confused on all different levels. So I decided, let's make a podcast with our ambassadors, because they went through the whole process the year before. And I think you guys have a lot to share and a lot of good wisdom to share over the next 45 minutes or so. So I'm going to start with Eden first from Shalom. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. The first question is, bring me back to last year. Okay, you're in Shalom for Women right now, Baruch Hashem. You seem very happy. What was last year like for you at this time? Take us through that. Walk me through the process.
Okay, so yeah, choosing a seminary is very confusing, because it's kind of like you have to choose your religious, what you want for yourself religiously for the rest of your life. So it's kind of a lot of pressure, or at least whatever for the beginning. So you just have to for me, I took into account what type of girls I wanted in this school, what type of environment, how big, small, and the type of learning also.
Got you. That was short and simple. But I'm gonna follow up with another one before we get to Eliana in a second. But were you nervous at this point last year? Was it I don't know if I'm going to get into these places. What's going to be next year? Were you bugging out a lot? Or what? Take me through those emotions at this point in the year last year.
I was really excited for seminary because it's just a year of growth and learning, and I wanted that a lot. For me, I was personally from a smaller school, so I wasn't so worried about acceptances as much personally, but I know that's a big issue for a lot of other schools, and a thing that makes a lot of girls very nervous. But yeah, for me, it was just seeing what I wanted for my future and having to figure that out. When you're in high school is a lot of pressure.
Got you. Okay, that's amazing. Now I'm going to switch it to Eliana. Okay, give me your take on what it was like for you last year. Walk me through that process, or walk everybody listening, not just me.
Okay, I was a little bit nervous about picking a seminary because everything that I was hearing from everyone just sounded so similar. Oh, it's this type of girl and it's this type of learning. And I just didn't know where I wanted to go because everything just sounded the same. But in the end, you just kind of, what feels right to you. And for me, it was just always mid-mo, which is not so.
That's good. That's good. You're allowed to. Not everyone has. What do you say?
Which is not so relatable to some people, but I just felt like mid-mo always pulled to me.
That's totally fine. Were you having a lot of people coming at you from different directions? Because when I talk to people, everyone always says, this cousin of mine says go to this seminary yeshiva. This person says this, and you get all these different opinions. Did you have any of that last year?
Yeah, so my school really pushes for a specific type of seminary, and I really went totally a different route. And so I was kind of alone in the process because nobody knew those types of seminaries that I was looking into. So it was a lot more difficult to figure out like what I wanted to do.
And on that point, I hope Israel Gap Year helped you. I met with a few students that are in called Beit Yaakov seminaries this year, and their schools don't give them any guidance in everything related to all the different schools on Israel Gap Year. And thank God Israel Gap Year has been a good resource. Kol hakavod to you guys, not me. It's just really you guys. Next, I'm gonna throw it to Ryan. Okay, I don't know if you had a different experience, but I want to hear about it. So take me through what it was like for you last year.
So my high school gives like multiple options for seminary. For me, I kind of I had an idea of what type of sem I wanted to go to. It was more of which one exactly was going to be the best for me. I did when I was younger. Used to like go around asking some girls where would I go, where should I go, and back then they were all like, oh, you should go this here, and I was like, oh, okay, because I didn't know anything about it. And then I just like stalked Israel Gap Year. I literally had meetings with every type of STEM girl, and I was like, tell me exactly everything I need to know. And then when they came to present, I kind of stayed after, asked a bunch of questions, looked at the schedule, looked at the classes, see what interested me, and then based on that, I kind of narrowed it down to 3, and then I applied to 3. But it definitely was stressful, but then everything works out. So.
Gotcha. And I'm gonna ask you, if you could talk to yourself last year at this time, knowing what you know now, what would you have said?
I would have said trust the process and don't stress as much as you did. Like it's seminary is really what you make of it, and it's a personal thing, and it's your year to be selfish and do what you want for yourself. And back then I didn't really know that, and I didn't really take that into account. So I would tell myself to just trust your heart and your instinct, and like everything will work itself out. And wherever you end up, as long as you're yourself and you know what you want and kind of have an open mind, open heart, everything will turn out great.
Great advice, by the way. I hope people take that one. Now I'm gonna throw it to Hodaya. Last one. What was it like for you last year at this time? And give us the rundown.
Okay, so I guess that last year I was thinking about that seminary really is this transition year between high school and between the rest of your life in the future. So when I was looking at all of these different seminaries and applying, I really looked at places where I thought that I could make the best of this year. And also, unless you go shun a bet, there's only one chance. So I really wanted to make sure that I felt fulfilled and I felt like I made the most of just this short year and that I grabbed every opportunity.
Wow, that was also straight and straight shooter. Good answer right there. I'm gonna ask you another follow up though. For a girl that is in high school right now at this stage, what would be your advice for them? Whether it's the ones that are super confused or the ones that have a lot of clarity, what would you say?
Okay, so my advice would be that, of course, you need to fill out your applications, you need to do your essays, you need to put all of your work in. But once you submit the applications, just know that you're always going to end up in the right place for you. Hashem's going to put you in the right place. So there's nothing to stress about. Once I get the stress of filling out the applications, writing your essay, but after that, there's really, really nothing to stress about because you're going to end up in the place that's right for you.
So true. Got to leave it up to Hashem sometimes, I want to. This is the next part, which I think is very, very important now that I have you guys on here. And by the way, public thank you for taking the time out of your lunch break to join me on a Sunday afternoon. What would your advice to be in regards to the things that are important when making your decision? Now, I'm going to do a reverse order. So I'm going to start with Hodaya this time. But obviously, there's personal preferences and take whatever you want into account. But what would you say would be your advice of things that are important to look at when choosing a seminary?
Okay, so I think that's something that people a lot of times could overlook is looking at the schedule of the actual seminary because class really takes up most of your day. So if you don't know what the classes are, if you're not interested in any of the classes, then that could end up being an issue when you're here because if you're in classes sitting all day that you're not interested in, it really could have an effect on your time. So I think that that would be one thing that is really important to look at that I think people often don't think is such a big deal.
Really, really good point. Okay, Ryan, you're up.
I think it's important to look at the schedule 100%. Like, that's the main. I think it's important to look at the teachers. And I think it's important. I mean, it depends on the person, but location and people does play a part in seminary. I mean, you are spending your entire year with these girls and in this location. It shouldn't be your main focus, but I really do think that the teachers, and again, like what Hodaya said, the schedule is the most important. Like she said it perfectly.
How I'm gonna throw a follow up at you. So for someone that's in high school that never experienced a day in seminary when you're literally learning Limude Kodesh for about 8 straight hours a day, how in the world can you sit in high school and be like, I could really envision myself in a schedule like that?
I'll tell you, it's you're not gonna expect, like you're not gonna understand no matter how many times people try and explain to you a day in the life of a STEM girl. It's completely different from any type of reality you had. We sit and learn for 10 hours straight. It's kind of like when you know you're going to seminary, you kind of have the mindset of like, oh, I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to adjust and have this type of life, and it's definitely a hard adjustment, but because you kind of tell yourself like this is what you're going to be doing the next year, you kind of prepare yourself. So it's definitely an adjustment, but I don't know, like I feel like you'll figure it out as time goes on, and you'll get used to it. Like you get used to everything. You just have to give it a shot and be open minded.
Gotcha. Love that advice. Okay, Eliana.
Okay. I think that girls focus a lot on where people tell them that this is your perfect place and like you should go there. But I think it's really just about where you feel that you belong, and where you feel the girls coming out is how you also want to look. And like kind of I guess seeing if the girls that go are going to be girls that motivate you to learn in and out of the actual school day. Because if the girls are going to be the type of girls that are saying, oh, let's just stitch, or oh, let's go and do this, then that's not the type of girls you want to like surround yourself with. And you just have to kind of ask around and see what type of girls are going, but it also shouldn't be your main focus.
Gotcha. I was gonna ask on that. If you're, let's say, take yourself, right? You're from out of town. You probably didn't know as many people going to this. You're in Mimo right now. And we could publicly say that because people see you on our page. Like not knowing probably as many people when making that decision. I'm sure there are a lot of people in a similar situation as you. So, what's your advice to those people when you might see a list when everyone decides, okay, I'm going to seminary, but like you don't really know those people. So, like, what would your advice be to everyone in your position?
Yeah, so not knowing a lot of people is really scary because you come in and it looks like everyone knows everyone and it seems like everyone's just already friends, but really you do find your people, and everyone's there to make friends with new people. And so you're going to end up making friends with those people who seem like they already have their group and they already have their friends, but really you end up becoming friends with those girls too.
Very good point. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that about the year in seminary is that sometimes you come to the school, everyone has their cliques in the beginning of the year, and you think, oh my God, this is actually how it's going to be for the entire year. And then you realize, you live with each other for 10 months, and hopefully all that, doesn't really stay the same. Last one, Eden, what do we got?
Okay, yeah. So kind of like what everyone was saying before, it's very hard to like imagine like a day in the life of a STEM girl. So like when like thinking about what STEM to choose, like people are really focused on like external like other factors, like oh the locate like the what do the dorms look like what like how close am I to the like place X. But like at the end of the day, like you're sitting in class for majority of your time in STEM, and it's like I don't think I spent enough time like looking at the classes and like thank God, like I love my classes and I'm very happy, but like I didn't realize how important it actually is. And like also like what learning styles the STEMs have, and yeah, because also like even if the STEM doesn't exactly match like your outlook on life completely, like it's like what you take from the classes individually and what you can learn from them.
Very good point. Now I'm going to throw a question back at you, and we'll go in the reverse order. Is obviously we just talked about what's important in your seminary decision, but now that you guys are here living the STEM life, Baruch Hashem, what's overrated that people focus too much on in the process that now that you're here, you're like, that was so not important to look at? if there's anything? I'll start with Eden, by the way. We're going in reverse order. I can say the question again. What in the process, what are the processes overrated? Meaning, like, obviously we just talked about advice for a student, like the things that are important in your decision process, but there's obviously those things, I'm sure, now that you're in seminary, you're like, oh my God, that was so secondary and so not important in the process of deciding where to go.
I guess I'll say, like, it doesn't matter if the school, like, matches your exact hashkafa, like, completely in every way, because it's, like, what you take from, like, the individual teachers and the individual girls and the individual classes. It's not, like, the whole, like, hashkafa of the school doesn't have to match your hashkafa completely, because that's obviously very hard to do, and it's very, like, a complex thing. So you should just focus on, like, what you're able to take from the SEM and not, like, exactly, like, what the SEM is able to give you, really.
Got
I don't
you.
know.
Okay.
That's
I take that. That's a good one. Who's next? I forgot. Eliana or Ryan?
I'm next. I was gonna say the same thing about the hashkafa, but I also think as much as it is important about who you surround yourself with, there's at least I think 80 girls in most seminaries, maybe like some have smaller, but then that's great. But I think that people care a lot about where their friends are going and what's best for other people and not as much as what's best for themselves. And I think that it's not important. It's like, yes, obviously it's important. You have a friend or two or you know someone, but also it's completely normal and great to come in by yourself and be like being brave. That's awesome. But yeah, people definitely care a lot about where their friends are going and their friend group and where other people think. And I don't think it is number one a big deal at all because I think that it's whatever best for yourself. And if you don't like it and and your friend would like it, then like you're not going to enjoy yourself. And I think that people also have to take into account that it's what you make of the year and not what your best friend could make of the year. So yeah, I would just focus more on what you want and not on what other people think or what your parents even. Sorry to the parents who are watching.
Shout out to your mom.
Yeah, shout out to my mom. But it's most important for what the kids want and things like that.
It's a very good point because a lot of people sometimes, lose track of, seminary and yeshiva also is not it's not a fifth year of high school. It's not something you always want to go with
Exactly.
those people. And at the end of the day, this was my follow-up to you is that talk about now that you're in seminary for someone that's in the shoes as you were last year, that's like, okay, let's say I don't go to a seminary with my friends and take the advice that you just said. Do you have enough opportunities to see your friends from other schools? Like, talk about that a little bit.
Literally every Shabbos, I mean, Midno has one in Shabbos, like, I think every 4 to 6 weeks, once a month, but like the months are here, I don't know. You could spend Shabbos anytime with any of your friends. Monday nights, every single sem has a night off, and we end at 6 and have curfew at 12. So we have 6 hours to see our friends, hang out. My friends come to Mimo, I go to their sems. We can meet on Ben Yehuda, we can meet on Emek, like literally anywhere. You could even go to Ramat Beit Shemesh and back and still have time to like get a coffee, like whatever you want, get a rebar, but you see your friends everywhere. If I go on walks every single day to the Rova and I see, I think, all of Harova and all of MMI on my walk just by walking, and even TVA for girls and Amit, like everyone's everywhere. You'll always be running into them. Like you're never, wherever you are in SEM, you're never gonna not see your friends. You always have an opportunity. I have a friend who's, I think her seminary is in the middle of the north, somewhere 3 hours away. She comes every single Thursday. She sits in our night classes, and then we also see her on Shabbos and on Friday. On Fridays, you have all day to do whatever you want. Even on Chesed days, your Chesed is an hour long, and depending on where it is, you still have time to hang out after. It's like you're gonna get sick of your friends. You'll see them so much.
Very good point, and I'm literally glad you said that because it's just something that not everyone thinks about because you think, okay, but I'm an ex. Exactly. Okay, Eliana, what's your overrated decision advice, if that makes sense?
I think location is something that people think about a lot. Like what Ryan was saying, you're going to see your friends either way because everywhere is a bus ride away. Like you can get to anywhere. It doesn't matter where you're in seminary because you're going to make the best of it no matter where it is. If you're in Ramat Beit Shemesh, if you're in Netanya, if you're in Jerusalem, or you're in the old city, like no matter what, you're gonna have fun and make it fun where you are. So it doesn't matter exactly where you are, and it shouldn't be the biggest deal.
Great point. Really, really, I'm glad you guys echo each other. Good duo in Minmo. Hodaya, what do we got?
So I guess I could also add on to the location being overrated because, for example, Shalom is in Malcha. So we're still in Yerushalayim, but we're a little bit out of it. We're not in Baka, we're not in the Rova. But as you continue on in your sem year, I feel like, at least for me, like I really started to appreciate, being able to go outside and take a walk without seeing the whole world, being in, a more quiet neighborhood, having more privacy, more time to yourself. So if you're looking in the place, and even like Beit Shemesh, which is a little bit further, I really think that you will start to appreciate like the quiet and the calmness of that area, which I think is really important, especially because you're surrounded by girls all day in seminary that sometimes you need downtime, and the Rova is not the place for downtime. Um, and then another thing I guess I could add is also the dorms, because from visiting other sems, they're all pretty much similar. Like there's little differences. Okay, some people have bigger bathrooms, some people have less roommates, more roommates, but they really are really similar. So I think that that's something also people make such a big deal of that really isn't that important.
Wow, that's I wouldn't say a hot take because I'm glad. Does anybody want to echo what Hodaya just said? You're welcome to.
I think that the dorms, I don't think they're all so similar, but like they're all functional and they're not like bad. They're not like yeshivas. They're like for girls, like they're meant for, I don't know, we're like high maintenance more than the boys are. But no, everyone has like a good enough place to feel clean when they go to bed. Like it's like even more like they could cook. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
It really
I feel like
isn't.
every place has their own perk.
You shouldn't make a decision for where to go based on the living situation, for sure. And people don't do that.
There you
Yeah,
go.
also-
Now, hopefully, what were you gonna say, Eden?
Sorry.
No,
like
interject.
yeah, all dorms have like pros and cons. So like one dorm could be like really really nice, but it's a much smaller space, and another dorm could be like much more spacious, but it's like a little bit less nice. So it's like all of them have pros and cons. So it's not.
You're
such a
also not so often in your dorm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you yourself want to, but you're not like spending that much time there.
Yeah.
Great point, and you're actually going to get into my next question. So my next question actually is related to obviously everything we're saying, but it's about misconceptions. So obviously we have the things that are important in your decision, the things that are not necessarily important. But now that you get to seminary, knowing what you knew last year at this time, what's a misconception, or however many you want to talk about like, oh my God, this is what I thought the year in seminary was, and this is kind of like the reality. I'm going to start with, can we go with Hodaya first? And then we'll go back in reverse order.
Okay, so I think that a really big misconception could be that people might tell you that you'll get used to things and jump right into it right away. But I really do think it takes a long time to adjust. You're in an environment that you've never been in before. You're surrounded by completely new people. You're in a different country. There's a lot of these different huge changes that you're not going to be used to. So it really does take time to find routine. Like I'm still taking time to find the routine. So if you think that you're going to like come in and after 2 weeks you're going to be totally settled, I think that your expectations aren't going to be met. So I think that you should just go in with the mindset that it is really going to take some time to adjust.
That is a phenomenal point. I'm getting some head nods from Ryan and Eliana. So do you guys want to say anything about that?
I agree.
Todd, say whatever you want.
So I was gonna say the same, like some of the same thing and add another thing, but I'm gonna like add on to what she said. Seminary is hard, and it is in a foreign country. You have never been here before. I mean, you might have like whatever. You never really lived here for more than 2 weeks, and now all of a sudden you're here. You're on your own. You have a huge responsibility to like take care of yourself. You're independent. You don't have a mom or a dad cooking dinner for you and shopping for you. You have to do your own groceries, and it's really hard. This is like you're becoming an adult or learning how to kind of live alone. And as much as you're your friends, it's still like you have to start learning how to cook and everything. And people don't realize how independent seminary is. And I think that's another misconception. And then I also think that, yeah, you're gonna not feel settled and comfortable until I think after Sukkot, like you have a schedule and everything. And once you complete your own schedule, like in Midmo, we choose our own schedules. So mine was all over the place. I was in and out of classes until I think 2 weeks after Sukkot. And then after that, I was like, wow, I feel like calm and peaceful and happy, and like I know my way around Baca now, and I know where to shop. I know where to get chicken versus meat versus salmon, where to get eggs. Like you kind of figure it all out, and once it's all figured out, you'll start to like feel at home, and then that's where you feel adjusted. But you're definitely not gonna, the second day you get there, you're not gonna be like, wow, like this is the best. I feel so at home and adjust. You're not. It's gonna take a while, but it's fine. Like be patient. Everything will work out.
There you go. Do you guys want to add anything else on that? Eliana and Eden.
I think even even though things might start feeling settled at a certain point, things are constantly changing because you're changing. So like you might have a set schedule that you wake up at this time, but let's say you decide, oh, you want to start adding something to your davening or whatever, then you have to like make more time for that, and you really just have to adjust as you start adjusting.
Yeah. I also had a slightly different experience. For me, like the first week or two was like really easy for me, and I felt like I was settling in like so well. And then like after like a week or two, I was like, oh, like I should probably feel more settled by now. And that's like kind of a stressful experience because like you're comparing yourselves like to other people. Oh, like she seems more settled, or like why am I not up to this point yet? So it's like a lot of comparisons, but you just have to like really focus on yourself.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't compare yourself to anyone in SEM or in other SEMs. Like I remember I met with my friend at a different seminary, and she's like, I love it here. It was like I think that first Thursday, she's like, I love it here. I'm really considering like maybe even staying next year. I was like, wait, we got here 2 days ago. What do you mean? Like, I mean, personally, I was just struggling because of adjusting, and I missed my family, and it was like hard. Now like I love it, and it's like amazing, and I love being in Israel and in Baca, but it was definitely an adjustment, and I think that it's great for her. She still loves it till this day, and like yeah, it was a little bit hard to adjust for like a second there, but everything really works itself out, and you just have to take time and like let it all come naturally.
Shout out to her. We're gonna keep her nameless, and hopefully she's watching this one and be like, "Oh, that was me."
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna throw at you guys, and I'm gonna leave this one like open ended, if that makes sense, is a lot of people that I speak to. One of the main things that I tell them, and I'm really curious to hear what you're gonna say on this one, is that let's say you're applying to seminaries and you have 3 different options in front of you. In my opinion, when you get to whatever school you end up going to, you're not going to be sitting there 2 months into the year being like, oh my God, what would it have been like if I was in XYZ school? I want you guys to talk about that one. And whoever wants to go first, talk about it. But I think it's a very important point to discuss right now with you guys.
I could go, I guess. Honestly, in that first week when you're like really stressed out, you're still settling in, you're like, oh my God, like maybe the other choice would have been better. But as you settle in, like you really do come to love it and realize that you really did make the right decision for yourself. But I also think like once you make, like once you finish the application, you just need to put it out of your head. Like it is out of your hands now, and wherever you get in or don't get in, wherever you end up choosing, like it's out of your hands.
Really, yeah.
I agree. I think that personally, I didn't really have the idea of like, oh, what if I were here? What if I were there? It didn't really occur to me, which like I'm kind of thankful for. But it's not even once you apply. It's once you what's it? Commit. Sorry, I forgot. Once you commit to school, like there's just no going back, and like that's it. And it's gonna turn out amazing because like you committed there for a reason. You just have to remember all the pros why you chose that place and everything. And then once you remember, oh yeah, like this is where I'm meant to be. This is exactly the school for me, and I just have to take a second to get used to it. And then once you do, it'll be great. But you can't regret any choice you make. And this is even not even about seminary, just in general in life. You should never live with regrets, and you should always focus on the new opportunities that come your way. And you know what, if you're having a hard time, it's fine. Talk to someone, talk to your friends. You could call any of us I'm sure we'd love to help, but everything really will work itself out, and just know that you chose that place for a reason, and just trying to remember the original reason why you went there. And even if whatever the reason was, like, you're there for a reason. God put you there, and he knows you better than you know yourself. So
Really, really great points. Really, and I'm gonna echo that. It's just like post decision. I don't want to call it guilt, but it's just like post decision nerves. Like as soon as you go on the joint seminary application website and you click that button, and you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh my God, what did I just do? Like, I made the wrong decision. What am I gonna do? And now they're full. Shoot, they're not gonna take me, right? So like everyone has that, and it's complete. It's there. Okay, so now I'm gonna throw it to Hodaya and Eden. Do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah. Also, like, once you're at like the seminary you chose, like, you're gonna like see all the things that you love about it and appreciate about it compared to like not, I guess, compared to other seminaries, but like you're gonna like realize why you chose the place and like focus on those aspects and not like and like stop comparing or like thinking about like, oh, what could have been, because you're just gonna like see what you love about the place you're in.
Great point. Hodaya, anything on that?
So yeah, I definitely think that it really could be hard a lot of times when you're hanging out with friends from other seminaries, especially if it's a seminary that you apply to and you were considering, and you look at the difference in their schedules or their routines, and you start to compare. And it could be hard because you could have some regrets, but I really just think that the regrets, they're not helping you. Like, they're not helping you in any way. And you just have to keep reminding yourself that like Hashem put you in the place that you belong. So there's no point to stress about, oh, what if I should have been in this place? What if I should have been in this place? Because you're in the place that you're meant to be in.
So true. Like this, by the way, this advice, these are gems, and hopefully people are enjoying this. I'm actually going to ask a completely, like, this is more just a fun question because obviously everyone has answers to these stories. What's your crazy, like, SEM adjustment story? Obviously, Ryan was saying before that, like, you come to seminary and you're like, okay, now you know where to buy things, you know where to, like, I've heard so many different stories. I'm obviously going to throw one out there right now of like my sister-in-law. Shout out to her, who's hopefully she's listened to this one. She took a bus and got off in like the completely wrong place, and it was not a safe area to get off at. And then it was like 2 weeks into seminary, and like she gets off the bus, and the Israeli soldier was like, "Get back on," you know, like people have these stories, right? Do you guys happen to have like that your SEM moment, like welcome to SEM, like this was my like that just happened to me?
I don't think I have like a not safe kind of story like that, but Balka in Yerushalayim is under construction. So on Move It, it didn't really like register that there's roads that are blocked off. And I remember I was going to play pickleball with like a bunch of H girls at this park, and I don't know, I didn't at the time didn't know the name of the park, and I like just like, okay, I'll just go and Move It and I'll get there. And then I went in a complete circle, and I just never like got like, and it never told me I was there, and it took me on the wrong route. And then I was like, wait, what's going on? And I'm looking around and like, wait, I know where I am. This is where I got on the bus. And then I put it in Google Maps, and I realized it's like it's right near the in-ball. And I was like, I go there all the time. Like, I know exactly where this is. So it was just like, oh, like that was my one SEM like moment where I was like, oh wait, I have no idea where I am and I have to figure it out. But otherwise, like, no, I feel like
It happens to everybody on a different level, you know. Anybody else have their moment in no particular order? You just jump in.
One time I was trying to get back from the hotel. I was like, oh, I'm gonna walk. I know exactly how to get there. I know how to get back. And it took me like probably an hour and a half because I got so lost. And then I came back and went to the Madrichon, and I was like, I had no idea where I was going, and I thought I was gonna die. And they were like, oh, actually you went the faster way. And I was like, what? Like, it didn't make any sense to me.
the traffic and like the buses here make no sense. Like the 34, I just never showed up like 4 times, and I had to walk back and came back. It was
And the first Motzei Shabbos, the whole mid-mo decided to go to Ben Yehuda together, and the bus was like got us so lost. So we all just got off the bus and walked.
We were in the
to Ben
middle of
Yehuda,
nowhere.
the entire mid-mo.
And I still to this day have no idea where they dropped us off. And we go a lot, and I like to walk there a lot, and I still have no idea where we were. And like, we went through back alleys. Like, we could have been in a really not safe area, but I had no idea because we were.
Baruch Hashem, you live to tell the tale. There you go. We're here today. Hodaya and Eden, do you have anything?
Well, I was in Israel like the whole summer and I stayed for a sem, so I was able to like figure out public transportation before then. So I guess I could give a tip like if you're visiting Israel throughout like this year, then like try to like take public transportation on your own maybe a little bit so that it's not like as stressful when you get to seminary, but like also if not, doesn't take that like you get really used to it after a little bit and it ends up being fine.
I'm actually, based on that question, it kind of takes me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is a little bit obviously after the decision, but coming at the SEM, and we can make an entire podcast on that in and of itself. Like, what could you do to make your adjustment more comfortable? And I'm gonna add to it to connect it back to our conversation. Obviously, is that when a student is in high school, they make a decision for seminary by like December time. So now you're like a high school kid doing whatever high school kids do well before seminary. So like, what would your advice be to someone in high school after they decide of what are things that they could do before to get prepared for seminary? Should they even be thinking about that? And then obviously once you get to sem, what's like the, okay, do this and hopefully you're good. I'll start with Hodaya and then we'll go back to Eliana, Rhyan, and Eden. That's our order.
Okay, so I would say that I guess one thing to do is honestly just mentally prepare yourself for another year of learning, because it's not like high school. Seminary is not like high school, but it is another year of most of your day is still sitting in class. So if you come in with the expectations of like, okay, it's just going to be a year for me to do my own thing, be on my own schedule, follow my own routine, then I think that you might come and just like be shocked, like, why am I sitting in class all day? So I really do think that you should mentally prepare yourself that it's going to be another year of, I don't want to say school because it's a different experience. You're only learning Torah and it's a totally different experience, but you should be prepared to be sitting in class for a majority of your day.
Really, really great point. Really great point. Okay, Eliana.
I think give yourself a little bit more responsibility at home because, like we were saying before, like you have a lot of independence now. And, like, honestly, if you don't like the dinner that Sem gives you and then you have to go and make your own dinner, like, if you don't make the dinner, you're not having dinner. Like, and if you don't do your laundry, you're gonna stink. Like, sorry. Like, you really just have to take responsibility, and I think starting that at home and getting used to that is definitely important because otherwise you're coming in and you're like, I don't know how to do anything.
There you go. Shout out to Art School that came out with a brand new cookbook. Everyone's talking about this in my neighborhood. So dinner done too. They're not paying me for that one, but I hope I get commission on any sales. Okay, Rhyan, what do you have to say?
I agree with both. They both have great points. Like, definitely start being more independent and like tell yourself you're also going to be learning, and then also kind of prepare yourself you're in a foreign country. You're going to have to figure out how to live not only alone but also with like the people here don't speak. I mean, they speak English. Like, you're going to have to I honestly take Duolingo and like learn Hebrew. I wish I did that. And then also shopping and like preparing for that. You don't need as much as you think you need. You're in SEM. There's like, for us, we have 93 girls, and like you're gonna have clothing no matter what. You don't have to overpack and like things like that. Like, you just don't stress. I don't know. Like, everything will be okay. Yeah.
Before we get to Eden, I'm just gonna ask this because this is I find this the most entertaining thing. What is the most amount of bags you saw a girl bring to seminary this year? Do you know?
I think
Either of you could jump in on this one.
I think like 4 or 5.
I think 4 or 5.
I think it was me, honestly.
How many?
I brought 4 bags plus a carry-on.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's
People
like
giving me, but I
And in
didn't brought like suitcases, and I overpacked.
Yeah.
Like, I could have
Definitely.
been good with like 2 or 3, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Do you guys all agree? Do you all agree on that one? That like just don't stress it. Just pack whatever like you
I
kind of
brought
need.
2, and I was like completely fine. Like, I'm like, even like I overpacked in 2 with my winter coat.
With your winter coat. That takes up about 3/4 of a big suitcase. So there you go. And you're from Florida, so I didn't even know you own a winter coat, but that's okay.
No, I had to buy one. Like, I bought one, I think, in June.
There you go. Eden, did you have anything to add?
I would say also just like buy things throughout the year that would be like helpful for STEM, so they're not all like just buying it all at once. Also, like pay attention to like the learning styles you like the topics you like to learn, so that it's like easier to like pick what type of classes you want when you get to seminary.
Really great point. Anybody want to say anything else on that before we channel to our final question? No, we're good. Okay. Time is almost up, and I gotta say, this has been phenomenal, and I really, really hope this is just helpful for everybody that listens to this. And obviously, hopefully you have no time to learn because everyone's calling you asking advice, Not hopefully you have no time to learn. You will have to, but you'll balance it out. My last question to you guys. I ask this to every podcast guest. Mostly, I mean, all my podcast guests up until now have been all the teachers that you guys learn from. But I'm curious to hear you guys' answers. What is your one piece of advice, if you had a message in a bottle to tell anybody that's listening, no matter where they're at in life, of like, take this message with you wherever you go for the rest of your life, what would that message be? And it doesn't have to be on what we talked about today. We'll go with Hodaya first, and we'll do Eden, and then we'll go back to the Memo Girls.
Well, can we start with someone else? I need a few minutes.
Okay, fine. We'll go to Rhyan.
I
I could say. I don't know.
My best.
How you guys picked the order at this point? You this is a tough question, and I did not prepare you for this one, and that's totally okay. So,
I could go.
you're good.
My best piece of advice.
No,
Oh.
Eden. We gotta hear this. one.
Eden, you say yeah.
Okay, sorry. Wait, could it be related to seminary? Yeah.
It could be anything.
Okay. My biggest piece of advice would be not to listen to like stereotypes about any seminary, because like stereotypes aren't the seminary at all, and like you can become who you want like at the place that you think is best for you, and you shouldn't listen to like the stereotypes, and like you don't have to fit the stereotypes of any seminary to go there. And yeah, that's like a big thing I would recommend.
Great one. That was a whole other part that we should have added to this episode, but we're running out of time. So anybody else want to add?
I would say the same thing. Like, there's kind of the concept of flipping out, and like it's really like you shouldn't come into the mindset having an idea of what you're gonna look like at the end of this year, and kind of like trying to accomplish that goal of yours. I think that you should just come into STEM and like be prepared to open up and really take advantage of every opportunity you have here. Go to the really random Shabbases in like Hebron or in Haifa. Like, take advantage of being in Israel, because you're never gonna have this type of life ever again. Like, it's your 1 year to kind of find yourself, and like don't feel the pressure of coming out as what you want, what your mom wants, or what your dad wants, or what you think your husband wants. Like, it really come out how you want, and forget about your past, and like just focus on the future, and just believe that you can accomplish anything, and then you're going to do great. It's going to be amazing, and you're going to live with no regrets.
Amazing advice. Could not agree more with that one. Absolutely. Who else? Anybody else wants to add? Hodaya or Eden? Not Eden. Sorry. Eden already went. Eliana.
Okay. I think regarding like seminary applications specifically, like everyone thinks that you have to have exactly like where you want to go right when you're like submit that application, like like, oh, this is my top choice, this is whatever, but like there's still time in between decisions and applications to like actually make your list of like where you want to go. But you have your 3, and then you can change what's the first, what's the second, like all that. And then in like advice for life, like let go and let God.
Wow, that's a quotable quote. We should make some merch with that one, by the way, and we'll quote you on it. We'll make an Israel Gap Year merch store. Hodaya, to end off, what do we got?
Okay, my one piece of advice would be to make seminary the year to really get your priorities straight and set goals for yourself, because seminary is this, like I said before, the transition period between, when you're a kid, when you're a teenager, to real life. And you are still in this little Israel bubble, and you don't have any responsibilities besides your self-improvement and improving yourself. So you should really take times to think about, what goals do I want for the future? What do I think is important to life? Talk to your friends, talk to your teachers, go to different places for Shabbos, experience new things, because this is your year to be selfish and make it all about you, because you're never going to get this opportunity again.
Yeah, remember, it's a year to be selfish, but then don't be selfish.
I was about to say, you can mic drop on that one. It's people always say be selfish, but you guys know what that means. Obviously, once you get to the end of Israel, it's like balance that out.
Balance. It's all about balance.
Yeah, balance. I'd say this, agreed. This year is balance. Seminary equals balance.
There you go. And you know what? This has been a pleasure. And if anybody wants part 2 of this, we could do a post-decision episode if we want. And if people want it, send us a DM, because people send me some of the funniest DMs all the time on Israel Gap Year, as I'm sure you guys have probably seen. And actually, you didn't do your takeovers yet, so you didn't see it. But if people want more of this,
Thursday, tune in.
but this is coming out.
This week.
Coming out.
This is coming. This is coming out after your day in the life takeover. So hopefully people enjoy that. People will rewatch and go back and hopefully they'll enjoy. So now that we're ending off, I just want to say, like, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully this is of help to people, because for me, speaking to so many parents, I know for a fact that this is hopefully gonna be helpful. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we're ending our episode right now, happens to be before we got on this podcast, I had Ryan and Eliana join, and all of a sudden they said, "Oh, we have a live audience behind the screen." So this is a great way to end off an episode, not just having a student perspective on advice for the year in Israel, but to have a parent perspective and have a parent of a current student that literally just went through the process. So, Eliana Rackman, Ryan's mom, I'm gonna phrase one question to you, answer it however you want, and hopefully this will help some parents that were in the same shoes as you were last year. Okay. Knowing everything about the process, applying to seminaries, the stresses of it, talking to other girls and parents, what's your advice for any parent that might be listening to this right now whose daughter is literally in the kishkas of the entire process of deciding where they want to go for seminary next year?
I would say that my best advice would be that you have to honestly know your daughter, and you have to make sure that she applies to what's good for her and not what you think you would have done, or where you think she should go, or where you think would be good for her shidduch opportunities. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is that she's happy and she goes where she should honestly go. Her level of learning, what kind of learning she wants, what kind of, don't go where you're necessarily, those girls are. You go where she should be, and maybe have an honest conversation with the Rebbitzin at the shul or at the school who's doing the interviews, not the interviews, what are they called? The guidance counselor?
Yeah, the meetings.
The meetings, and have an honest talk about what's good right for your daughter. I guess advice goes for men too, but that would be my best piece of advice.
That was short and simple and really good. And by the way, if anybody reaches out to me and wants to speak to you, could I connect them with you? Is that possible?
Of course. Of course.
You might get very busy. This might be your next part-time job for the next few months. There we go.
There you go. Sounds good. Hashtag Eliana Rackman.
Oh my God.
Bye.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Enjoy. That is a wrap. That was actually a phenomenal conversation. I hope you guys really enjoyed that one. I personally, as a host for this was the first episode I ever did interviewing students like this. And honestly, if you guys want to hear more, send me a message and tell me you really enjoyed this. Send me an email. I'll put my email down below. And I love hearing feedback from episodes like this. I thought it was very insightful. And just thank you again to Ryan, Eliana, Hodaya, and Eden for joining me today. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. We have just so many amazing episodes coming out soon. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you guys soon. All the best.